Have you ever wondered, in a big company with all its technology, who's actually deciding where the millions of dollars and thousands of hours go? I mean, who's really calling the shots? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly that.
Think about it like this. Your IT department is this incredibly powerful engine. I mean, it's got the horsepower to take the business pretty much anywhere it wants to go. But what good is an engine without a driver? Without someone in the driver's seat, it's just a bunch of potential sitting in the garage. So who's actually got their hands on the wheel?
And that driver, well, that's the IT steering committee. This is the whole idea we're diving into. They're the ones looking at the map, choosing the destination, the business goals, and deciding how much fuel or budget to use to get there. They make sure that powerful engine isn't just spinning its wheels.
Okay, so let's get a little more specific. What exactly is this committee, and what's its real job inside a company? At its absolute core, the IT steering committee is all about governance. It's a group of senior leaders, and this is key, from both the business side and the IT side. Their most important function is to be the bridge that connects the two worlds, making sure the company's tech strategy is perfectly aligned with its overall business goals. It's all about that alignment.
Right. That bridge idea is everything. So let's look at why it needs to exist. What are the specific things this committee is trying to accomplish?
Everything really flows from that first point, aligning IT with business strategy. Once you get that right, the other pieces just fall into place. That alignment is what helps them prioritize where to spend millions of dollars. It drives how they allocate people and resources. It forces them to get serious about managing huge things like cybersecurity risks. And then they have to circle back and monitor performance to see if it all paid off. And a great side effect? It just makes communication across the whole company so much better.
And this is how it works in the real world. Let's say a bank decides its main goal is to be the best at digital banking. The IT team might have a dozen cool project ideas. The steering committee is the group that steps in and says, okay, that mobile banking platform you proposed, that's priority number 1 because it directly helps us win at digital banking. See? They connect the tech spend directly to the business win.
So, if this group is making such huge decisions, who are these people? Who actually gets a seat at the table?
And this table really shows you the magic mix. Of course, you've got the CIO, the head of IT, bringing the tech vision. But look who else is there. Someone from the CEO's office, the finance director holding the purse strings, and the heads of different business units who can say what they actually need to do their jobs. And here's the most important takeaway from this. It is not just an IT club. For this to work, you absolutely have to have the business leaders in the room.
Now let's clear up something that trips a lot of people up. The steering committee is not the same as the IT management team. Think of it this way. The committee decides the why and the what. They're making the big strategic calls and approving the investments. IT management, on the other hand, is all about the how. They're the ones in the trenches running the systems every single day. One is strategy, the other is operations.
Okay, so we know who they are and what they do. But how do they actually make these huge decisions? What are the rules of the road for them?
Well, it follows a pretty logical flow. First, ideas and proposals come in from all over the company. The committee's first job isn't to judge the tech, but to ask, does this align with our business goals? Then comes a deep dive into the costs, the benefits, and the risks. And after that, the hardest part. They have to prioritize. They can't fund everything, so they rank the projects by strategic value, approve the budget for the top ones, and even then, their work isn't over. They have to keep monitoring to make sure the company is actually getting what it paid for.
So let's hop back to our bank example. Imagine they have 3 great proposals on the table: a mobile app upgrade, a new data warehouse, and a fraud detection system using AI. All of them are good ideas, right? But the committee, with its bird's-eye view of the entire business, decides that cutting down on fraud risk is the single most important thing right now. So the AI project gets the money first. That's what strategic prioritization looks like in action.
Now, when this is all working well, it's a massive competitive advantage. But let's be real, it's not always a perfectly smooth ride. So let's look at both the huge benefits and some of the common bumps in the road.
When it works, the payoff is just huge. You get smarter, data-driven decisions, which means you waste a lot less money on the wrong tech. You get that true alignment between IT and business, way better control over risks, and executives can actually see what they're getting for their tech dollars. And maybe most importantly, the company just gets faster at doing the things that will actually make it successful.
But here are the traps you have to avoid. The number 1 killer of a steering committee? A lack of executive participation. If the senior business folks don't show up or don't take it seriously, the whole thing falls apart. Other big problems are getting stuck in the weeds of operational details instead of focusing on strategy or just becoming another slow, bureaucratic committee that slows everything down. That's why having a clear, defined charter is so important. It gives them the authority they need to be effective.
So let's bring this all home. When you step back and look at the big picture, what's the committee's ultimate job? What's the final destination they're trying to reach? So if you're going to remember just a few things from all this, make it these. The IT Steering Committee provides that high-level strategic oversight. It's there to align tech with business goals, to greenlight the right investments, to manage the big scary risks, and at the end of the day, to make sure there's real accountability for all the money being spent on technology.
And really, it all comes down to this one powerful idea. A great IT steering committee completely transforms IT from being just a cost center or support function into a true strategic partner that helps drive the business forward. And that, right there, changes the